Hello, 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 Loving Without Boundaries community. I am really excited to be here for our every other week Facebook Live with myself, Katie Shambliss, MCC Master Certified Coach from the ICF, the International Coaching Federation. And also I'm here with B, who is ACC, an Associate Certified Coach with the ICF as well. And just I'd start us off with that. And before we get going on our topic, if you did not see in the group, we had a really exciting week last week where I ended up getting, through a referral of somebody that I didn't even know, got referred to speak to a reporter at the Wall Street Journal, and alongside some other amazing people, such as Amy Moores from the APA Division 44 Committee on Consensual Non-Monogamy, who's also featured in the article. Got featured in both an online and a print article. This is in the Wall Street Journal, so it's pretty exciting. And Alan McDonald of Polyamory in the News actually did a write-up of all the different places that polyamory and open relationships were front and center in January. There's literally 4 or 5 publications. I'm sure they're mostly in the United States, but either way, that's a really big win. So if you didn't check that out, please do. And I will be writing a blog post a little bit more about that sometime this week. So, but I'm excited to be here with our topic today, which is empowering self-talk with Coach B here. And I will, and so if you are new here, we want to say welcome to our community. We want you to know that we are here to support you and hold your hand and guide you through the sometimes scary and fraught with difficulties and a lot of fears and insecurities sometimes journey of living your most authentic life. Know that we do these Facebook Lives every other week, and I sometimes do some individually as well throughout the week. And we offer so many resources, whether it's podcast interviews from experts all over the world, our files section right here in the group. There's files about watching master classes and where to meet people in real life, all kinds of great information, blog posts. We're also sharing stories of hope and optimism in living your most authentic life. And that's one of the things that we talk about in this article. Is I share that I've been with my husband for married 18 years, together 20, and been with my other partner for over 8 years. So if you have people in your life that say open relationships and polyamory doesn't work, it's for people who are broken, it doesn't last, I call bullshit, because I'm an example of that being lasting literally for decades. And there's many people here in our community who are living that life as well. So with that, I'm going to give the mic over to B here to get us started on our topic for today.
Wow, Katie, that was such a really positive start of our conversation. And congratulations again for being featured in the Wall Street Journal. This is absolutely huge. And thank you so much for being in the forefront of this movement with your courage and strength and your heart. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, babe.
So
Thank you.
Today's topic is how to move from disempowering self-talk into more empowering self-talk, and some of the challenges that most of us face when it comes to self-talk. I really want to highlight that there's no shame about that. If we notice that kind of pattern that we keep talking in our head with ourselves in a negative way, this can be down to lack of skills, that lack of education. This can be down to our past history that might need to be looked at. Plus, I really want to mention about that our brain has an ingrained negativity bias. So by default, we tend to notice the negative things. And by default, we tend to notice the negative things in ourselves as well. And it's so easy to absorb, especially when we're kids, the negative noise from the environment, and internalize that as our own voice. So there's absolutely no shaming around that. And with skill set, this can be definitely improved. I want to mention about why this is important to talk about self-talk, to address this particular topic and look under the hood of ourselves, what is really going on in our minds in a daily basis. So when we have a more empowering self-talk in our head, either about the world or other people or ourselves, that greatly contributes to our well-being and our relationship satisfactions. Now, how it's connected to consensual non-monogamy is because in this particular lifestyle, there are so many moving parts. Having a more encouraging, empowering self-talk contributes to our resilience and satisfaction as well. It creates more effortless flow in navigating these very complex challenges that can be part of this lifestyle. When it comes to the types of self-talk, I already mentioned that there are like more positive ways and negative ways. A positive example could be, for example, really encouraging ourselves and noticing our progress. Like, I know that I'm making mistakes, but I also notice that I keep improving and I do everything that it takes for me to get to my goals. Versus some of the negative self-talk, for example, rumination, that I can't stop thinking about that embarrassing moment yesterday. I should have done better. Everyone must think that I'm a complete failure and absolutely incompetent. Or beating ourselves up like really automatically without our conscious awareness. Like, for example, we make a mistake and instantly what pops up in our head is like, I'm such a failure. I always mess things up. I'm so stupid. And very often we don't even notice this particular language. So I would like to invite you to do a brief exercise in your contemplative moments, either during this discussion or whenever it suits you in your own space, to notice on a daily basis how much of your self-talk tends toward like a positive one or a negative one. Like, is it like 50-50%? Is it 80% positive self-talk, 20% negative, or the other way around? Is it possibly situation dependent? You notice that your self-talk in certain situations is more positive versus in other situations. Is it past, present, or future oriented? Is it about regrets, beating yourselves up, feeling overwhelmed and exacerbating overwhelm in the present, or being scared, terrified, and anxious about the future? Or even another good question could be, is this even my voice? Is this something that's coming from my higher self? Or can it be something that maybe some child that bullied me in school said to me, and I still keep hearing that very same voice, and this became my self-talk? Or, for example, my one of my caregivers said something to me because they were angry, and this is what I still keep using when I speak to myself. This can be a really powerful exercise in a way that, as we keep saying, transformation happens in the specific. So the more we know about where our blocks are, the better the chances that we can find the right strategy. And circling back to what I shared, that there's no shaming around not yet cultivating a more empowering self-talk. I want to share that with you that 3 years ago, when I started working with Kiri, when I reached out for help because I really, really struggled, I would say that my negative self-talk was around 90-95%. And over the course of 3 years, I flipped it around. Like, it's more like 80-90% positive, but I'm not immune to negative self-talk either. Sometimes it switches on, and I want to give you a very recent example here. One was that I struggled to express attraction toward someone, and unconsciously, unintentionally, I nearly convinced myself that I wasn't enough for this particular person. It absolutely wasn't intentional, and it took me some time and some work to move through this downward spiral and understand what was really going on, that some old patterns kicked in, some disempowering thoughts kicked in that had no relevance in the present, but they were connected to the past long gone when I really feared rejection. And the other example is about boundary setting. I felt discomfort around expressing a boundary when it came to certain sexual activities. And again, I went down this spiral. The thoughts that I kept running in my head is that, what if I express this boundary? That would decrease my value and worth in the relationship. I'm risking the chance of being left or not wanted or rejected. Again, I had to work through that what was really going on. And believe it or not, throughout this spiral, that part of my brain that knew that I'm 10 out of 10 polyamorous was not available to me. So I needed to use my special skill set to get access to that part and feel confident and capable to set that particular boundary around this sexual activity. But there are many other examples, but I definitely wanted to share it with you that many of us is just simply not immune to these negative self-talks popping up in our head from time to time.
Thank you for sharing all that, B, and this really super important topic. And I really also appreciate your vulnerability and your courage in sharing some of your own personal stories around that. And I'm sure a lot of people who are watching can relate to that, because when we are looking to live our most authentic lives, whether we identify as polyamorous or wanting to explore or practice consensual non-monogamy, or maybe we identify as bisexual or heteroflexible, it can be challenging if there's been moments in your life where maybe you felt attacked, like you can't live your life like that, or maybe you were called names. And it's important to know that when other people attack you, that's reflective of their wound that they have not chosen to heal yet, not your truth, because otherwise you take on the cloak of whatever it is they're saying. And as B said, you can take that gavel out and just start beating yourself up with that negative self-talk, that inner critic. But you can learn the skills to be a gatekeeper at the center of your mind so that you're not adopting somebody else's wounding that they have on their heart and adopting that onto your heart, where you might start to create this kind of protective armor around yourself. And I don't want to make our emotions wrong or bad, right? So in the work that we do, we often talk about the emotional guidance scale. So we have lower vibrational survival emotions, which could be powerlessness, insecurity, jealousy, anger. They're just messengers giving you information. Even the emotion of anger can spur you to take action and advocate for yourself, especially if maybe your rights got violated or one of your boundaries, maybe you didn't even realize you had, just got activated. But you can learn how to get the skills to move up and choose joy, choose optimism, and then live up there. So the thing is to really learn that you're conditioning your self-talk either way. If you don't have that gatekeeper in your mind, you may be just allowing that inner critic self-talk to be running rampant. And so the scary part is to allow yourself to live in those depleted energies that are draining you and taking away your energy to live your most authentic life. Because let's face it, that takes energy. It takes courage to step up and say, this is who I am. You can, though, learn how to develop the skills to live in those higher vibrational energies. It's really about that choice. You know, it's okay to notice and even choose anger if it's giving you energy to move, right? And a lot of times with the work that we do, we say not to speak from your anger, but for your anger, if that's one of the emotions that you're coming from. But you can also change your self-talk with intention. Choose your self-talk and be able to, we often say, to think about what you're thinking about and notice, are you asking yourself questions that are causing your inner self-talk to take you downward, to take you out? Or are you asking questions that are increasing positive self-talk, that are renewing who you are? Because you have a choice, but typically if you're not being conscious of it and if you're not actively doing the work, it can be very seductive and easy to have that negative self-talk that really takes you out and chips away at your sense of self-respect, your self-esteem, your self-love. And we can't give from an empty cup. So that's partly why this topic is so important. So I'll give the mic back over to you, B.
Thank you, Kiran. I really love that you use the word our truth, your truth. That's such a powerful word. And indeed, if we spiral into negative self-talk, whether asking disempowering questions, whether those disempowering questions sound like, why am I mess always things up, or if it turns into blaming someone else, that can't you notice how you make me feel? Don't you care? So when we enter into those places, our truth, our beautiful truth, our beautiful, authentic self, the love, the compassion, contentment, joy, a sense of capability, they get buried underneath all that negative emotions, and we can really easily end up in self-fulfilling prophecies in our relationship, for example, because a negative self-talk is so damaging that we just can't get out of that, and we tend to project that outside as well. If I keep saying to myself that I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I don't deserve better treatment, then this is what I likely gonna create in my environment, and this is where my focus is gonna go to. Self-talk is also important because the thoughts that we keep circulating in our head shape our focus as well. So if we're staying in those painful places where our emotional regulation is impaired, when we're in the survival mode, really in contraction, when our jealousy and insecurity feels like we're completely drowning in that, that's gonna stifle connection, not only to ourselves but to other people as well. From that place, it can be really difficult, for example, to speak our beautiful truth, to speak about our needs, our desires, to set boundaries, and really just enjoying life and enjoying our relationships. So it's important to start with that level of self-awareness. As what is it really going on in my head that I might be able to change if I choose to, if I choose to put in the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And we can also choose to look at where we're putting our focus and our energy. One of my mentors that B, he ended up, just to share another story, he ended up losing temporarily the use of both of his legs through a tragic accident, and was told at one point that he was never probably going to walk again, or to walk without a limp, and he would basically be crippled. And he, as a human being, it's natural to maybe go to that poor me. Why did this happen to me? That could be some of that self-talk. I'm damaged. Those are some self-talk that we could allow ourselves to go to. Yet he was able to use some of the skills that we're talking about here, change his mindset, change his frequency, because that emotional vibration where you're at, if you change your frequency, that's where your inner dialogue is coming from. That's where you're conditioning to come from. And he was able to move into the frequency of, I can do this. I'm worth the energy. I can heal myself, right? So that's completely different self-talk. And it took him about 1.5 to 2 years, but he can now walk without a limp. He can run. It's amazing. And even when he was thinking about where he was putting his energy, he looked around and saw that there were many people who, God, this is horrible, but, who have had their legs blown off, meaning like they don't even have a limb to heal. And so he was able to move up into that frequency of gratitude. Like, I'm so lucky that my legs are still here, that I have something to work with, that I can navigate this with my, with some professionals and my own mindset. So we always have that concept that we get to choose what frequency we want to come from, because that will lead your self-talk. And a lot of times people aren't aware of how to do this on their own. And that's often why working with a mentor or a coach or a really good therapist could possibly be helpful. But anything you want to add there, B, before we maybe start to close this up?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that you shared the story about this person, and that's really a demonstration of how miraculous and magical it can be if we change our frequency and our self-talk. And what came up for me is that what it also helps with moving into the different energetic state is that not only our self-talk increases, but we start seeing different solutions. So on a lower vibrational state, we may feel stuck, that this is not happening for me, I'm powerless, there are absolutely no solutions. But when we start moving up further in that emotional guidance scale, then we really notice things that we've not seen before. So it's a definitely different experience. So I want to encourage everyone, if you notice that you are possibly held back by your self-talk, then as Katie said, it might be worth to reach out to someone who could help you with that. Let it be a therapist, a counselor, a coach, or a yoga class, anything that helps you raise your vibration so that you can create empowering narratives that really help you in goal achievement in a more effortless and satisfactory way. So create the narratives that empower you versus the narratives that limit you, so that you can show up from a place of contentment, more alignment with your values, versus being stuck in a fear response. And when it comes to relationships, when we raise our vibration, when our self-talk changes, that will enable us to get out of this survival mode and be more attentive to our environment, and really able to step into that place of expansion when we feel capable and confident to nurture not only ourselves but the other entities in the relationship as well, the relationship itself and the other person as well. So I invite you to consider possibilities where you can raise your vibration and where your words speak your truth, and when your words are a testament of your strength and capabilities.
Thank you for that, B. That was really beautiful. And yeah, just know that we are here for you. We're glad you are a part of our community. And if you are seeing this on YouTube, know that we do have a private closed community on Facebook called Loving Without Boundaries, Healthy Open Relationships and Lifestyle Freedom, that you can come join. And I really believe in finding the right mentor for you and getting the help that you need, the right professional for the job. So if what we're saying is resonating with you, if you are looking to seek some help, if you are committed to your own growth and expansion and are excited and ready to do the work, then I invite you to book a call with myself here and then become part of our family here in a deeper way at that link, lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. When you go there, it will simply take you into my calendar. Just pick a time that works for you. There'll be a very brief form for you to fill out just to give us some context for that conversation so we can really hit the ground running as I get to know you better. And on that call, we'll put our heads together and see if I can help. And if I can, we'll come up with a game plan together of what those next steps would look like and give you an empowering moment to make a decision on that call. So again, with that, that's lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply, and know that you can, from a place of empowerment, choose what frequency you want to be in. And from there, that will navigate your self-talk to be more empowering instead of that kind of inner critic that's depleting and exhausting and potentially causing you to suppress who you really are, not really living your most authentic life. And you can be surrounded by people who are championing you, who understand what you're going through, who can support you in releasing any possible traumas from the past and things of that nature. So if that's you, I invite you to book that call at lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. And we are excited to have you be a part of our community and to get the healing and the growth and the expansion that you are looking for. So with that, goodbye from myself until we see you soon. Be any other final thoughts?
Yes, I have a quote to stack on what you just shared, that the power to change your world resides in the thoughts that you choose to nurture. So choice is really important here. And if we choose to, if we'd like to feel better, there's a way out. There's always a way for the committed. And my last thought would be what I started with is to really step into that mode of self-compassion, to give ourselves grace. Because if we start to have this adventure of changing our energy and empowering self-talk, we may run into certain difficulties. And it's important to notice that we are attending to, really hard working on reconditioning and restructuring certain templates or patterns that we lived possibly for decades. So it's definitely a journey, and it is definitely something that it's worth it, and you are worth it. You absolutely deserve to have and live your most authentic lives and the most beautiful relationships and all the love and joy in the world.
Mm. Beautiful, beautiful way to wrap it up, B. Thank you so much. So, with that, we will see you next time. We hope your week is getting off to a great start. Know that we got you. We are here for you. We are so glad that you are part of our community. We are sending lots of love your way. So, until next time, we'll see you soon.